Over the course of Ninjago's years, we've gotten so many compelling stories for our seasons. And some of the most crucial moments in those seasons lie in the split-second decisions our ninja make between saving themselves versus the greater good. That's what makes them true heroes. Wu sacrificed himself to take Pythor with him into the mouth of the Great Devourer. The rest of the ninja let themselves get poisoned by the Overlord's power twice to give Lloyd a fighting chance. Garmadon let himself get banished to the Curse Realm to save the world from the wrath of the Anacondrae. Wu sabotaged the Iron Doom to help Kai and Nia get out of the time vortex, knowing he could be lost forever in there. Zane jumped in front of Wu to save him from Asphira's blast to the Neverrealm. Kai and Cole let go of their lives in Prime Empire, knowing Jay was more important to keep alive. Lloyd boldly tried to channel the power of a Source Dragon, knowing it could kill him. And more recently, Kai let Bonzel close the portal while inside the Nether space to make sure more Forbidden 5 members don't escape. While the ninja are constantly putting their lives on the line for the city and now the merged realms, those are some of the most significant ones. Today we're going to compare two of the most famous examples in that line, being Zane's sacrifice from Rebooted and Nia's sacrifice from Seabound. I see the question asked a lot in the Ninjago community, being whose sacrifice was better, and for good reason. They're both very similar. Zane's sacrifice happened when the Overlord had attained his full power as the Golden Master with an outfit made out of the golden weapons. The ninja had tried everything in their fight against the Ninjroids, Lloyd using his golden power, entering the Digiverse and hacking the Overlord virus with the Technoblades, and even going to space to prevent the Ninjroids from getting the melted golden weapons. But after everything, it was all in vain. Zane knew what he had to do. He grabbed on to the Overlord, knowing it would kill him since his armor was made out of all 4 golden weapons, but yet he stayed holding on, absorbing its power and using it to stop the Overlord. Nia's sacrifice happened when King Kalmar had acquired the Storm Amulet and awakened the ancient sea serpent Wojira. The ninja tried to help out the city from the flood that came with the arrival of Wojira, but it seemed like nothing they did could put a dent on this guy. Nia had heard a story from Benthomar of a hero from a time period where the first Spinjitzu master had barely arrived in Ninjago. A story where Nyad, the original master of water, merged with the ocean and defeated Wojira, but she lost herself in the process. And as the whole team hides after giving it their all, she knows what she has to do. She merges with the ocean while everyone is asleep and defeats Wojira. So we're going to compare these two over 4 categories and give them a point depending on who does better in that category. The first category being composition, meaning which one had better arrangement of visual elements in a camera frame to convey meaning and influence the audience. The second category being music, which one's musical theme elevated the scene better. The third category is emotion, whose sacrifice meant more or why was it sadder given the context. And the fourth category is after effects. This one I think is the most important category because in the past it either makes or breaks a lot of impactful Ninjago moments. Since both characters return to life, this category is meant to see which character's sacrifice was better in the long run. Has it developed or changed the character or characters around? Starting off with the composition, Nia easily wins here, but keep in mind there's about 7 years of improvement in the animation. From shots like the night fading into day, or Jay and Nia having a moment here, but not being able to touch because she's on the other side, metaphorically and literally, or the fight between Nia and Wojira being choreographed undeniably well, with shots like Nia forming back into a dragon as lightning crackles around her. There's nothing wrong with Zane's, and the camera work and animation does everything it needs to, but there's no denying Nia has the benefit of time on her side. Next, we have music. Now this one is very subjective, so your opinion might change compared to mine. Zane's soundtrack is absolutely iconic from the very first time we heard it when he gets his memories back in season 1. We obviously have his main track playing as he sacrifices himself. Then we have his funeral track.
He was the perfect balance between us and technology.
And finally, the track he has when he reveals that he's somewhere out there in the digital space. I like how this one combines Pixel's theme and uses vocals, which make it feel so much more dramatic. Ninjago doesn't use vocals in their tracks a lot, especially for the good guys, so it's a treat when we do get it. Now Nia's, I think, is amazing because if the ocean could talk, I'm pretty sure this would be its voice, and that's a compliment for her whole theme, generally speaking. This bit as she races up to Wojira is fantastic.
It's her! The girl!
The most iconic bit has to be the somber echoed radar noise as she finally makes the decision to sacrifice herself.
I wish we had more time.
I like how everything about her theme really sounds like her element. Even when the sun rises, I like how the music conveys the pace of time, as well as indicating to the audience that while it seems calm, something is about to happen. Now if I had to choose, I would probably pick Nyad's by just a little bit, not because I like the music better particularly, but because it matches the scenes a lot more. But honestly, Zane's is so iconic, so I'm gonna give both sides half a point. The third category is which one had more emotion. I'm gonna be honest and say it already, Zane's wins by a landslide, and let me explain why it's so easy for me to say that. Nyad's is extremely sad for a couple of reasons. She was so frustrated at her mom because she was held captive, and now Nyad's last step results in her understanding that same pain of having to leave your loved ones to protect them. She's also not even able to say goodbye properly to her friends, knowing they would stop her. Not even able to say goodbye to Jay for that matter, as he's almost unconscious with water in his lungs. His painful breathing noise adds a lot of intensity and scariness to the situation. Jay not being able to reciprocate, knowing he would want to have one last moment with her, adds to the drama as well. Later on, it's more painful to see Nyad walk past our ninja like they're nothing. In other ways, Nyad's sacrifice is epic, as we see this character come full circle from sister to Samurai X, then water ninja, and now go farther with their power than any ninja has gone. Let's move on to Zane's. Both Seabound and Rebooted were focus seasons for Nyad and Zane, respectively, so you could vaguely always assume that both of them would do something significant. But by the time Benthamar explained to Nyad how Wojira was originally defeated, we could kinda tell what was going to happen. Everything was centered on Nyad. Her powers weren't working, then the amulet was tied to her powers. Then the only one who could beat Wojira was an elemental master of water. Zane's sacrifice, on the other hand, literally came out of nowhere. Zane was focused on a lot, but he was never the center of the plot. He fell in love in the midst of Borg inviting them to his tower. He found out how to use the Technoblade to save the kids from the factory. He was the main asset to help hack the Overlord virus in the Digiverse to save Lloyd from getting all his powers drained. It was always helping. Looking back, knowing what happens, you can see there was a lot of clever foreshadowing to indicate he was going to make a big move, like his power overloading him in the spaceship, but it would be pretty hard to guess the first time watching the season. I think the other thing that really makes it sadder than Nyad's is that Nyad, like I said earlier, was the only option to beat Wojira, and she knew what she had to do after every effort had failed. Zane, on the other hand, while being a ninjroid and pretty remarkable, didn't have this prophecy or anything. He just kind of jumped and tried his best in order to save his friends, knowing it would explode him no matter what the outcome. The saddest part is Zane had been so lost for so long. He didn't know who he was weird and outcast, but now he had friends. He had found his father and who he was. So even in the midst of exploding, he smiles because that's all he ever wanted. He's happy dying, having experienced something so simple we take for granted sometimes. And that alone makes me feel for Zane so much. Zane was special, but not because he was the green ninja or he had that mysterious power source. He was special because of something that I think he puts into words best, which also sums up his character thematically for this season as well.
I'm just Zane.
Now the fourth category is after effects. Nyad's sacrifice was unfortunately preceded by Crystalized, which was supposed to be the end of the whole main series. So naturally, even though Crystalized had a longer runtime than your typical season, they just didn't have the time to give it as much importance as it needed to properly do it justice. Overshadowed between the ninja going to jail or Harumi and the Overlord coming back, you get the point. I really like the episodes on how Nyad returns. The ninja team is super agitated and distant about getting replaced, and they're all even happy to go to jail for her. However, everything that happens after Nyad comes back is pretty underwhelming. It starts out interesting with her becoming Samurai X again as she feels a loss of identity, but honestly, with Dragon's Rising, she's completely back to normal, which I mean I'm fine with. I'm glad Dragon's Rising doesn't take much from Crystalized, but honestly, I feel like Nyad merging with the sea didn't do much for her in the long run. Zane, on the other hand, kinda did come back digitally the same episode he died in. But first of all, that scene was really good because it left a lot of questions and thematically still meshed with Zane's character arc for that season. It even contributes to his funeral scene as it starts snowing, which adds a lot of emotional value to that scene. It also really helped that the next season, being the Tournament of Elements, was very much centered on the search for Zane. LEGO was very clear with that in the marketing. Zane had an interesting arc of rediscovering himself throughout the season with the help of Pixel, as well as coming to terms with the fact that in some ways, he is not himself. He has changed physically and mentally, and it's time to come to terms with that. He is the Titanium Ninja. This is also the first time the ninja split up, so it was definitely more impactful than the second time with Nia, although I do like the drama between the group in Crystalized more. Closing off Zane, however, Zane's sacrifice in Rebooted and his evolution into the Titanium Ninja is still relevant and changed his look and feel for the rest of the show as we know it. So finally, tallying up the points, Nia got 1 point for composition and half a point for music, and Zane got half a point for music, 1 point for emotion, and 1 point for After Effects, giving him 2.5 points, taking the win. He definitely deserves it here. Comment down below your thoughts and which sacrifice you liked better. It doesn't even have to be Zane or Nia. It could be any sacrifice in Ninjago. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.